Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turn now to poem 386, Answer July. Now, in some ways, we're back to poem 6 and the regenerative cycle of the 4 seasons, and we're back to another dialogue poem. There's a reason we called our series Chats with Emily, and this is one of those potential chats that we'll be speaking about. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at LearnStrong.net. Down that left-hand side, again, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our set of introductory comment, and I'm also hopeful that you've worked through the preceding 385 poems. We just finished with 385, Smiling Back from Coronation. Now, Emily is very interested, as we pointed out many times, in nature and the cycles of nature and the fact that we move from spring to summer to autumn and then finally to winter, and then of course we start it all over again. This is a fun poem to read. My Emily group pointed out the joy of reading this poem. You get a sense that Emily is having a lot of fun as she writes this poem. Answer July. Where is the bee? Where is the blush? Where is the hay? Ah, said July. Where is the seed? Where is the bud? Where is the May? Answer thee me. Nay, said the May. Show me the snow, show me the bells, show me the jay, quibbled the jay. Where be the maize? Where be the haze? Where be the burr? Here, said the year. Now, again, somewhere Emily's got to be smiling that we are reading this poem out loud and enjoying the game that's being played. Notice the 9 wheres. The repetition of this poem is fun. And of course, the repetition of the cycles of the season is the game that's being played here. Notice the demand is answer July. Where is the bee, the blush, the hay? Of course, we're going to come back to May and hay here, the game that gets played, right? Ah, said July. In other words, if the first question is, where does summer come from? Then the second one is, well, where does spring come from, right? Where is the seed, the bud? Obviously, the May. Answer the me. In other words, a bit of a tension here, right? Nay. We go from ah to nay. Nay, said the May. Notice it's brilliant, the May. Show me, and then we're going to get 3 of these shows. Show me the snow, show me the bells, show me the jay. In other words, where does the winter come from? So we go from summer to spring to winter. You can see how we're cyclically backing up. And then finally, quibbled the jay as opposed to May, right? Where be, and we're back to finish with wheres. Where be the maize, the haze, the burr, and then finally, right, the answer, here, said the year. And there seems to be a suggestion here that in the dash, maybe even as a powerful use of this, that everything and the process starts all over again. Well, at 2a, the messages here I think are quite clear. All of life is this cyclical process. In evolutionary language, it is that idea of transcend and include with each evolutionary stage. Something from the prior stage is carried with it on to the next stage development. But, and this I think is significant, it's all important. We'll immediately think, of course, of our Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner study. All of life, the great and the small. At 2b, the repetition I think is significant here. The cyclical nature of the repetition with 9 times the word where and 3 times the word show. 3a, I can't help but think we mentioned, of course, Coleridge's Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, but I'd like us to think as well about Shelley's Ode to the West Wind, if winter come can spring be far behind. That power of the cyclical nature. Finally, at 3b, which season for you is your favorite, which is your least favorite, and to what degree do you respect the cyclical nature of our lives? Thank you.